The well stood at the edge of the village like it had always stood, quiet, round and worn down by decades of hands pulling water from its dark throat. The stones around its mouth were smooth, polished by ropes and palms, by heat and patience. Every morning, before the sun climbed too high, men came with buckets, women came with jars, and animals waited their turn in the dust. That morning was no different, except for the camel. He was an old male camel, tall even by camel standards, with knees thickened by years of kneeling on hard ground. His hide was the colour of dry sand after a windstorm, and the hair along his neck had thinned with age. He did not groan or protest as his handler tied him near the well. He simply lowered himself slowly and sat. His name was not spoken often anymore. Long ago the camel had carried salt and grain between towns, but those days were finished. Now he hauled water skins, sacks of barley, sometimes nothing at all. Still, he came when he was told. The handler, a man named Hassan, looped the rope over the wooden pulley and dropped the bucket down into the well. The rope creaked, old fibres complaining as they slid over the wood. When the bucket hit the water, there was a dull splash, echoing upward. Hassan pulled. The bucket came up full, clean. Clear water spilled slightly over the rim, darkening the stones at the edge. Hassan poured it into a clay jar and sent the bucket back down. Again, clean. The camel watched. Camels do not watch like people do, but they notice. The old camel's head was angled just enough that one eye followed the rope rising and falling. Each time the bucket came up, the water was clean. No sand, no leaves, no insects. That was not always the case. Some mornings the water came up cloudy, stirred by careless pulling or by something moving below, but not today. A boy approached the well with a small tin pail. He was barefoot, his feet grey with dust. He stopped near the camel, studying the animal's long face and slow breathing. "Why doesn't he move?" the boy asked. "He's resting," Hassan said. "Camels know when to save their strength." The boy nodded, though he didn't fully understand. He watched the rope. Down, up, clean again. The sun rose higher. People came and went. Donkeys stamped and snorted. Chickens scratched around the stones. The camel stayed exactly where he was, his shadow stretching across the ground, his body still. And still, the buckets came up clean. By midday, the heat pressed down on the village like a heavy hand. The well became the centre of everything. Voices, movement, arguments, patience. The rope was warm now, rough against the palms. Sweat darkened shirts. Water was drawn more carefully as the sun climbed. The camel had not moved. His handler untied him once, thinking the animal might want to stand or shift. The camel did not. He stayed seated near the well, his long legs folded beneath him, his head occasionally lifting when the rope brushed too close. "Let him be," said an older man resting in the shade. "Animals understand things we don't." No one argued. The boy returned with another bucket, this time helping his mother. He noticed something strange. Flies gathered around the donkey, around the people, even around the water jars, but not around the camel's face. The camel blinked slowly, calmly, as if the heat and noise did not concern him. The rope slipped once. The bucket banged against the stone wall inside the well. A murmur ran through the people waiting. "Careful," someone said. The bucket came up, still clean. The water reflected the light sharply, almost silver for a moment before it was poured away. Hassan paused, looking into the well as if expecting to see something. "What is it?" the boy asked. "Nothing," Hassan replied, but his voice was uncertain. Animals were brought to drink, first the donkey, then a goat. The camel was offered water too. He drank slowly, deliberately, lips dipping into the trough with practiced ease. When he finished, he lifted his head and sat again. As afternoon leaned toward evening, the wind shifted. Dust rose and settled. The rope continued its endless journey, down into darkness, up into light. Clean, clean, clean. An old woman finally spoke what others had been thinking. This well has not been this calm in years. No one answered her. The camel remained. When the sun began to sink, shadows lengthened and voices softened. The well's stones cooled. People filled their last jars and buckets before heading home. Hassan untied the rope from the pulley and coiled it carefully, laying it aside. The camel still did not rise. "Come," Hassan said gently, tugging the lead rope. The camel hesitated, not stubbornly, but thoughtfully. Then, slowly, he unfolded his legs and stood. Dust fell from his knees. He shook once, a deep, rolling motion through his body. As he stepped away from the well, the boy noticed something in the water below. Movement. Just a ripple at first, then another. Something shifted in the darkness, something that had been still all day. "Look," the boy whispered. Hussein leaned over the well. A snake slid away along the wall below the waterline, disturbed now that the camel had gone. Long and thin, its body disappeared into a crack between stones. The old man in the shade exhaled slowly. So that's why. The camel had stayed near the rope. His weight, his presence, his shadow, enough to keep the snake still, hidden, unwilling to rise. As long as the camel remained, the well stayed calm. The water stayed clean. No one said the camel understood this. No one said it was planned. But everyone watched the old animal walk away, his pace steady, his back straight despite the years. That night, the village slept with full jars and quiet minds. And the well, for one long day, had given only clean water.